From wine to war horses, we have got it all on Off Duty today. Hi, I'm Wendy Bounds. Now first, do you ever wonder what's on the gift list of the 1%, you know, when they get tired of the Jules and the Jets? Well, how about a custom barrel of wine? I took a trip to City Winery in New York to find out how it's done. It's good for pros, it's good for newcomers, and you know what? It's cheaper than a jet. What to get that finicky 1%er who has everything? Classic car? Too cliche. Liz Taylor jewels? No, overexposed. Perhaps then, a chance to make your own barrel of wine. It's DIY, minus the plumber's crack. Here at City Winery in New York, owner Michael Dorf sells winemaking memberships. First, pick your poison.
First thing you gotta do is think about what kind of wine do you drink, because you're gonna be getting 250 bottles of a barrel.
Cabernet Sauvignon or Pinot Noir, Riesling or Chardonnay, what's your primary grape? Second, your barrel, French or American oak, new barrel versus old.
The barrel makes a big difference as to what kind of style your wine's gonna be. Each producer, each cooper, has a particular forest that they source their wood from.
And now it gets fun. Part 3, the tasting.
Each one of these barrels has what's called a bunghole, and we're able to...
Bunghole?
Yes, it's a kind of...
Wow, that sounds like something from Beavis and Butthead. No straw needed. You use this device called a wine thief to sneak a taste from other people's barrels.
Look at the color.
I recommend a lot of tasting. Dorf compares winemaking to baby making. So each one's like a womb, you're saying?
I would call the barrel a womb, and this is your baby, and it's going to continue to age and develop.
Fourth, the development stage. Now, some people just pick a wine and slap their name on the barrel. Others go so far as to meet grapes at the loading dock, even help load them into the fermenting tank. Real heavy hitters call in David, City Winery's resident winemaker who can wax on and on about the finer points of vinification. You can keep drinking while he talks. Fifth, it's bottling time. Customize your label, pick a cork, box it up. Total cost to make 250 bottles, around $8,000 to $10,000. And if you get impatient waiting for yours to age, you can always sneak a loan with the wine thief. Thanks, Tom. All right, so not all of us can afford a barrel of wine, but who hasn't bought eggs? Gail Monahan of Off Duty, she's going to show us now the subtle science of separating an egg. It's messy work, but let's roll with it.
See if I can do this without breaking the yolks. They have to be cold. That's the biggest thing that I think many people don't realize. The yolk is the fatty part of the egg, and so when fat is colder, it stays more congealed and in one place. So you want the eggs to be cold, even though in most recipes, eggs are supposed to be used at room temperature. If you need to separate them, you want them to separate when they're cold and then bring them to room temperature. So there seem to be two major ways to separate eggs that I see, and I think you have to experiment with them and see which you like best. The more traditional way is you crack the egg like that, and you just take it back and forth from one shell to the other. Each time you do this, you want to put the whites into a separate container so that if you do mess up one, you haven't got 8 nice clean whites that you've made a mess into with a 9th egg. A way that's related to this method is you break the egg, and instead of going back and forth, you put it in your hand, which I kind of like better because I feel as though you're less likely to break the yolk. The other way is the way most chefs do it, but it's a little riskier. You break 4 eggs into a bowl, or however many eggs. I'm doing 4, you could do any number. And what you do is, for the yolks, you just pick them out. Yolks are very perishable, so if you're not going to use those yolks right away, you would cover them and put them in the refrigerator, where they might keep several days, but I wouldn't keep them longer than 2 days to be safe. Egg whites are the opposite. Egg whites keep for months. And they keep probably a week out of the refrigerator. And actually, egg whites, if you're going to whip them up and make a souffle or make meringues, the egg whites are better if they're a little older rather than super fresh eggs. So in that case, if you have the time and you think about it ahead, you're better leaving them out for a day or 2 before you actually whip them up.
We brought you a lot of videos out of New York's Fashion Week. What's in, what's out for fall. Our own Elizabeth Holmes, she was on the scene reporting all week, and she's right here.
Hey, Wendy.
What do I need to know?
I've got one word for you, orange. It's the new black.
It's the new black. You heard it right here. Let's check out what else you found.
Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Holmes for Heard on the Runway, and I'm at New York's Lincoln Center where they're tearing down the tents from Fashion Week. We're going to give you a rundown on all the runway trends for fall. This fall is all about a shade of deep red called Oxblood. Derek Lam and Donna Karen's DKNY line showed the truest versions of the hue, while others tried variations, like Tory Burch with raspberry. Another red hot shade for fall, orange. Nanette Lepore used flame orange in a palette that she told me was very saturated and very intense. Tracy Reese and Narcissa Rodriguez also used vibrant versions, while Max Azria toned down a bit with a shade he called Paprika in his BCBG line. If you don't think you can pull off these vibrant shades, fear not, you totally can. Just pair them with a more neutral color like a black, navy, or khaki, or save them for an accent piece, like on a handbag or a shoe. Tucked in among all these bright colors was an unexpected shade of pale blue. It's not a color I normally think of for fall, but gowns from Oscar de la Renta, Jenny Packham, and Marchesa have me thinking otherwise. Several designers put forth a much harder edge than we've seen before. Jason Wu, who I think of for cocktail dresses and elegant gowns, put forth a warrior-themed, smoke-filled show, while Reem Akra, who I usually think of for bridal attire and red carpet gowns, was similarly steeled in her approach. She told me it's time to be a strong woman. Others took a more literal approach with military jackets and flat ankle boots at Victoria Beckham and Marc by Marc Jacobs. And as for prints, folks are still mad about plaid and that other fall staple, tweed. Ralph Lauren went full-on Downton Abbey on us with plaid three-piece suits, while Oscar de la Renta showed some skirt suits for the ladies who lunch. No matter what your style, texture is key. Fur, both real and faux, was all over the runways again this season, from Michael Kors to Zac Posen to St. John. If you're not into the full-length fur coat look, you can always try a vest or a fur accent, like on a collar or your purse lapel. And don't forget about metallics. Crinkled silver and brushed gold are a great way to add texture to your look without the heavy embroidery or super sparkly sequins we've seen in the past. Ladies, come fall, your A-line midi or slim pencil skirt isn't gonna cut it. It's all about volume with full skirts on the runways. My favorites were at Millie by Michelle Smith and Alice and Olivia. And here's a little tip, pair them with a platform and the proportion is sure to make your legs look super skinny. Another silhouette we saw a lot of, the peplum dress, which is where they put a ruffle at your waist or hips, often over a slim skirt. But ladies, be careful with this one. It must be tailored properly to avoid adding bulk in unwanted places. For the gents, I defer to the expertise of my colleague, Ray Smith. He reports that cargo pants are coming back in a much dressier way. Once reserved for only casual outings, the sleek new versions come in wool or cashmere and can be worn in a formal setting. Other things to consider: double-breasted suits, turtlenecks, and rolling the cuff of your jeans. Thanks for joining us here at Lincoln Center. I'm Elizabeth Holmes for Heard on the Runway. If you want even more Fashion Week coverage, head to WSJ.com/runway.
Now, not all of us are fashionistas, but that doesn't mean we can't look good. Our own Kelsey Hubbard sat down with style gurus Simon Doonan and Jonathan Adler to find out their tips on how you can curate and organize any closet. Boy, I need that.
It's that time of year when women all over the world are watching the runways of New York City's Fashion Week to find out what they'll be wearing next fall. I'm Kelsey Hubbard, and we're going to give you some tips on how to curate your own closet. I'm here with Simon Doonan. How often should women take inventory of their closets, if you will?
I think women should be constantly updating their closets, but do it with a sense of fun and creativity. Don't feel that you're being criticized. I hate it when women are not having fun with their wardrobe. Like, don't worry about what other people think. Learn to use fashion as creative expression. That's the advice I always give women.
So when they do go into their closet, what should they be looking for? What pieces do they need? What are the trends that we're going to be seeing not only tonight in this fashion show, but going forward?
Well, I think you need something that you can wear when you're in a little more serious mode, you know, your sort of office. Well, actually, no, you don't really. I think that era when women were slavishly following trends is over. So now it's about really looking at who you are and expressing yourself. Are you a bohemian? Are you a gypsy? Are you a sexy secretary? Like, what's your look? and you should express that through clothes, because really the fashion landscape is so gigantic now. Every trend is concurrently available, so you'll go mad if you're trying to look for what is the thing of the moment. It's really about, it's a great time for consumers.
When you approach the closet, whether you have a walk-in or even something a little bit more modest, is there a strategy to organizing it and designing it so we can best get the most functionality out of it?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, for men, I think it's just like whatever, make it super functional and low-key. For chicks, I think it should be like the most glamorous, opulent store. Like every time you walk into a closet, you should feel like you're in Bergdorf's. And so I have done some really over-the-top closets in my day for people, from a really cool kind of layered, eclectic bananas closet for Net Lepore to like this Upper East Side socialite who we painted. We did like a faux tortoise shell and everything. So the most important thing is to create a sense of luxury and glamour in your own closet.
A place that you like to be, like to go into, kind of fun.
Yeah, I think chicks should dig their closets.
So what most inspires you when you come to a fashion week? What are you looking for? What do you get and take away from as a designer?
Well, for me, I think the most exciting thing is that my real job is that I'm a potter.
Right.
So I'm like, trapped behind my potter's wheel, and when Fashion Week rolls around, I get to dust myself off and go up here and tuck into a bit of like twinkle and glamour. So for me, it's really fun. I'm not like one of these jaded fashion editors who like complains about it. So for me, I just love to come up here and sort of get a break from my day job and see it as a spectacle.
And finally, do you need help with your company's Oscar pool? Our own Rachel Dodes, she handicaps two of the big Best Picture contenders, The Help and Warhorse. Is either going to take home the Oscar gold? Take a listen.
Warhorse is Steven Spielberg's big-budget World War I film about our equestrian friends who fought on behalf of the Allies.
What is it?
It's a horse they find wandering about in no man's land.
What kind of an horse?
A miraculous kind of an horse, be my guess.
The film combines Spielberg's two strong suits, which are, war films and interspecies friendships. This film concerns a young soldier and his horse, who really delivers, delivers an amazing performance. It got mixed reviews. I mean, it does have beautiful, sweeping cinematography and score by John Williams, but it had some historically questionable moments, such as when an English soldier and a German soldier put down their guns in order to help save this horse in the middle of a battlefield during World War I.
I've drafted a bill that requires every white home to have a separate bathroom for the help.
Maybe we should just build you a bathroom outside, Haley.
The Help is the most financially successful of all the Best Picture nominees. It's brought in almost $170 million at the box office. The movie itself is based on a novel that was written by Catherine Stockett, and it's about black domestic workers in the South in the early 1960s and their relationship with their employers. The director of the film is a man named Tate Taylor, and he had directed one feature film before this, but it was a really low-budget movie, and so this was his first big project, and he got the job because he is Catherine Stockett's best friend from growing up in Mississippi.
And that's it for today's WSJ Off Duty. I hope you'll click above to subscribe. Please leave your comments below and click the like button if you see something you like. I'm Wendy Bounds. Join me on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.